Welcome to Pensare Basketball Live. The Toronto Raptors have a new 7-footer on their roster, and he might stick around. He might just be something that we weren't looking at. And when he got waived by the Sacramento Kings, I didn't make too much of it. And it's exactly the type of player that has been missing off the bench for the Raptors. So we're going to talk about Orlando Robinson. We're going to talk about the Raptors' new 10-day signing and whether or not maybe you strike gold without the betting scandal again with the Jonte Porter signing. And we're going to talk about the Raptors 905 scoring a big win on the Valley Suns, the Phoenix Suns affiliate, and David Stockton, the son of John Stockton, and the Jurassic Five. The Jurassic Five, as you can see my name here, Jurassic Five. Enjoy 4 of the Jurassic Five cooked, and they looked very good. And I am just so blown away by some of the passing that I'm seeing from Jacoby Walter, some of the rim protection, and just basketball instincts that I'm seeing from Ulrich, and overall just progression, elements of progression that I'm seeing from Jameson Battle and Jonathan Mogbo. So we're going to talk about that as well. Hit the like on your way in, appreciate it. And right towards the end of this live, which is not going to be very long live, I have a tremendous record of completely botching that. Whenever I say it's not going to be a long live, it ends up being 3.5 hours. So this will not be a very long live, but right towards the end of the live, I'm going to give you a very good nugget of information about life, and it's going to be deeply philosophical, and it's going to be good. It's going to be a good one, and it's going to be about how to stop overthinking, how to move, how to create action in your life. And I think that it's going to be a beautiful thought to end your weekend on and to start your week out. Okay. All right. First of all, I don't know how much you guys know about Orlando Robinson. I knew very little of him coming into the draft. I don't think I scouted him very much at Fresno State. The last player I really remember clearly at Fresno State was probably Chris Jeffries, former Raptor Chris Jeffries. But this is what Orlando Robinson had to say. And take a listen at the player that he most modeled his game after, because it's going to get you excited. All right.
Tell me about your game as far as what are the skills you feel you can provide to an NBA team? What do you think most will translate at the next level?
I would just say my versatility, being able to get out on the perimeter. I feel like my game matches like the modern day big in a sense, being able to put the ball on the floor, shoot the three, and facilitate offense. I feel like I can fit that in an NBA team.
Any players current or past you feel you model your game after maybe resemble?
There's a lot of players that I would say that I take bits and pieces, but the most I would say is Jokic. The way how he facilitates offense, is able to put it on the floor, bring the ball up, shoot the three, rebound, like all around game. That's kind of I feel like that's like exactly where I'm at as a player.
You're a unique player. Do you take pride in that, the fact that you're able to kind of dive into different categories and contribute in different ways?
Yeah, I mean, as a kid, I never liked not being able to do something. So like I kind of like growing up, I kind of made it like I would be able to dribble, I'd be able to pass, shoot, anything I needed to do. So I would say yeah, take a lot of pride in it.
How special will it be to hear your name called on draft night?
It's gonna be amazing, man. I look forward to it. I mean, as a kid, I used to play 2K and make my character, and then once he said my name, then I turned my console off just so I could hear it again. So man, it's just gonna be a dream come true and the start of something beautiful.
Okay, so there is a bit of a historical precedent of bigs taking a little bit longer to develop. Marc Gasol was certainly not a ready-made prospect coming into the draft. Hassan Whiteside took his lumps and bumps until he found a permanent home. I would say guys like Jamal McGlory took a little bit longer. Big shout outs to Big Cat coming out of Eastern Commerce, Toronto guy. There's Isaiah Hartenstein. Isaiah Hartenstein, man, that guy was bouncing around in the G League. He was available. The Raptors had Hassan Whiteside, if I recall correctly. Hassan Whiteside played for the Raptors summer league squad at one point. You just don't notice these guys, and then they just take off, right? So this kid has a chance. Now, a little bit of a brief overview. He was a pretty good college player in his third year at Fresno State. He posted about a 10.2 boxes minus. That's pretty decent. He came out with a lot of questions about athleticism, specifically burst, stability, mobility, flexibility. Would he be able to guard in the perimeter? Would he be able to keep up with the speed of the NBA? I remember watching him this summer in the summer league, and I actually went back and checked a few clips, and you'll notice that I don't actually make a big deal out of the Raptors fringe signings. I don't I don't recall making any video about AJ Lawson or Amarui or any of those guys. I haven't really even done that. Like I'm not clickbaiting when I do this. Okay, it's not like Raptors have a franchise center. No, this isn't that. This is just genuinely a player that I'm impressed with because I think that he has the building blocks to actually stick. And the reason that I think that is because there are base requisites or base requirements to play in Darko's system. You have to be a pretty good playmaker. That's why Christian Koloko was being, touted as next up because he had good short roll potential. That's why Ulrich has a chance for this team. That's why Jonte Porter worked because Jonte was, as you recall, a pretty good passer. And yeah, so sorry. Every single time I think about Jonte Porter, I'm just reminded what could have been because that dude. I mean, he satisfied so many needs for this team. It's so sad that that dude just threw it away for a few measly $1,000. Like he probably was in. I mean, with how Masai signs guys, like he probably was in line for like a $5 to $7 million extension based on how he was playing. So he really screwed himself up. But nevertheless, hopefully Orlando Robinson does not have any such vices. But I noticed a bit of switchability. He caught a play in the summer league where he switched out to Rob Dillingham, and he did well. Like Rob Dillingham is not easy to switch out onto. Switched onto guards, comfortably guarded them, trusted his length. It's been widely reported that he's 7 feet tall. Not according to anything I've read. He measured 6'9" and 7.5. 6'9 3/4" without shoes, 6'11" in shoes at the pre-draft, and measured in with a 6'7" 3/4" wingspan, if I recall correctly. So he's a big dude. He's a big dude. He's got really good size for the center position. He's gotten a little bit stronger. What I'm noticing with him that I am most impressed by is there is growth. Like every year in college, there was growth, and every year in the pros, there has been growth. So his college or professional career started out, as many do, undrafted and signed to the Miami Heat. That's usually a good omen. That means, Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra looked at him, met him, and decided he was worth a shot. Now he didn't stick. They waived him this past summer, largely probably because they didn't have the spot to carry two centers like him. And Khalil Ware did get drafted by the Miami Heat, so that was probably just one of those things that they had to, make a decision on. And then he gets signed by the Stockton Kings and the Sacramento Kings. And so, yeah, I mean, it's worth noting that he absolutely did play for the he played for the Miami Heat. He even started the game for the Miami Heat. And T-Dot's finest, he said 74th percentile on Crafted NBA. Interesting. Did you see his rim defense on Crafted NBA? Because I'll show you that right now. There are some encouraging signs, man. The playmaking is encouraging. He is somebody who has a little bit of a mid-post package, which, I mean, I'm not suggesting that he's ever going to be asked to just get on the low block and cook, but he has some good touch. He has a little bit of ball handling. And I think with a head coach like Darko Rajakovic, like this is a guy who could actually, he could tap something out of him because he has the size and he has the skill and he has like elements of defense. Like he's good with the deflections. He's good at blocking shots. He has, I'm not saying he's Rudy Gobert as a shot blocker, and he's certainly not Ulrich as a shot blocker, but he's a rim protector. Like he impacts at the rim is what I'll say. Maybe the burst is not great. Maybe he's not an explosive athlete. Maybe he's not a run jump athlete. But if this dude with his skill was a run jump, type of super athlete, he would have been a top 10 pick. So I think the athleticism stuff is a little overblown. And it's interesting that some of the same stuff that was said about Nikola Jokic coming into the draft, somewhat slow-footed, questionable athleticism, etc., is some of the same stuff that's being said about Orlando Robinson. So I'm not saying he's Jokic. Please don't ever clip me on that. However, seems like a very serious kid, seems like a very serious-minded kid, and seems like a kid who's willing to work. Seems like a kid who's willing to work and has at least a shot to stick around Toronto long time. So I'm happy they're bringing him in. Take a look at him. If you don't like it, if it doesn't fit, if it doesn't fit your culture, it doesn't, you don't think that it's a lot of untapped potential. But, I remember Rafer Alston getting signed to a 10-day and then getting signed to another 10-day and then getting signed for the rest of the season. And then next year, the Raptors use their mid-level on Rafer Alston. I would not be surprised if Orlando Robinson has a Khem Birch type of trajectory with the Raptors. In fact, he's got a lot of Khem Birch in his game. If you want to talk about low side projections, he is basically Khem Birch but younger. Okay, so moving on from Orlando Robinson, let's just take a real quick look at what he did to the Raptors when they faced them. I think you might remember him. Like it was kind of an out of nowhere performance, and it goes to show you you never know who's looking, right? Because you cook these teams and it's a random game against not a very good team. And next thing you know, that team is the team that calls when you're available. Take a look at this. So here, we see the three. That's consistent, man. That's a good shooting form, right? And of course, here we go again. Now, little dribble handoff here, sets the screen, rolls hard, makes a wide angle, good hands to catch, and good toughness to finish. That's great, man. That type of player is going to work so beautifully with RJ Barrett and Scotty Barnes. Here again, now look a little bit of defense here on this side. So he cuts off the drive for Jakob Pertl and then is able to recover back to Chris Boucher, which I thought was just really underrated and showed that multiple efforts defensively that you need. And you're going to see that a lot with the 905 as well with Ulrich when we look at that film. But I thought it was good, man. And again, the Raptors are not going to cover this, and he is actually not going to take the dare shot. Rather, and this is on OG Anunoby and Jakob Pertl, he goes 3-on-1 and scores. I love it. That was good, man. Anyways, it's a very brief window. I'm not saying he's going to come and do that for you every single night, but you like to see the thought. I've been saying all year the Raptors don't have a competent backup center. If nothing else, it's going to be a great chance to see something like this player. You know what I mean? You might draft a player like this. You know what I mean? Kaman Malawaj has a lot in common with this dude. Way higher upside, way bigger player, way more explosive athlete. Fine. But seeing what Kelly Olynyk looks like with a stretch big will actually allow you to exhibit Kelly Olynyk more in a natural order of things. If Orlando Robinson can get minutes on this team, he's not the worst player on this team. I got news for you. He might actually just come in on day one and be like your 8th or 9th best player. That's how talent depleted this roster really is. And playing him with Chris Boucher, you might just find something on your defense, because I'm going to tell you this right now, and this is no disrespect to Jakob Pertl, Kelly Olynyk, or any big that the Raptors have played this year. You haven't quite had a big like this on your team since Christian Koloko. And that's not to say he's on par with Christian Koloko as a shot blocker. I'm just saying a big who can switch, drop, recover. Okay, that's all I want from my big. I want multiple efforts. I want a big to be able to bother the shooter, and then inevitably, when the big being out of the paint disrupts and creates a backdoor passing lane for, because RJ's man or Grady's man or Davion's man or someone gets free, then I want a big who can at least go back and bother the shot. That requires awareness. That requires will. That requires motor. That also requires a little bit of a switchability on your hips. And I'm not saying he has switchable hips. I'm not saying he's gonna, walk out there with the best of those switch defenders like Draymond Green, but I'm saying he's better at it than probably anyone on your roster not named Scotty Barnes right now. So I'm very curious to watch him. I'm super curious to watch him. No gas, not at all. Wouldn't be surprised if it's a one-off and boom, he's gone. But going into the trade deadline, if you're looking to exhibit Kelly Olynyk and what he could look like, it helps to have a big who can actually play big next to him. So I'm curious. I'm really curious. All right, let's switch focus. We are 13 minutes into this. This is already going way longer than I wanted it to. Okay, my bad. We are going to switch focus to the Raptors 905, and the Raptors 905 balled out. Jacoby Walter, all the talk coming into the draft was Jacoby can't pass, Jacoby can't pass. Watch this. Okay, this is not a super impressive pass. It's a very basic read, but nice finish for J-Mo, Jonathan Mogbo in transition. This is a good pass, though. Watch this. Pick. Boom. Good pass, man. Now, Jonathan Mogbo doesn't finish that, so he doesn't get an and one. He doesn't get the assist, but that is a great pass. And speaking of Jonathan Mogbo not finishing, I just wonder what will J-Mo look like once he gets a little bit more strength, right? Here, he gets fouled. He's going to go to the line. But I feel at some point when he gets a little bit stronger, he looks super strong. He's not that strong. But if he gets a little bit stronger, it's going to be bully ball time in the post. Now, speaking of defense and how much I value good defenders, watch Jamison Battle on this play. It is actually really impressive. Cuts off, What I say, multiple efforts. Don't just cut off and then deliver the blow by the other way. Moves his feet, boom, 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 stays, trails out to the perimeter, forces the pass, and boom. And then stays, right? He doesn't just get distracted like a child with ADHD and then, starts, doing crazy things and then loses a shooter. No, he stays with this assignment. Just watch that again. That's 10 seconds of really good defense. Cuts off, moves his feet, out, trail. Perfect defense. If the Raptors played defense like this, if RJ and Grady played defense like this, the Raptors would probably be a 40-win team. Okay, now I cannot stop talking about how good a shot blocker Ulrich is. This play was initially called a foul, but very quickly was overturned, and it's not a foul. Look at the timing. Look at the timing. This is awesome. Just brilliant. Rule of verticality, goes right up, times it, blocks it. That is not easy. When you think about the complication of getting up to the apex of your jump and then without fouling, by the way, the defender is using their offhand to try and clear you a little bit to block this clean. No contact on the arm. None. Makes contact with the ball. You need to have such hand-eye coordination to do that midair. I can't tell you how impressed I am with him as a shot blocker. And speaking of Ulrich blocks, take a look at this one. This was mad impressive. Okay, again, what I say, multiple efforts. I want bigs who give multiple efforts. Here's a multiple effort. Comes out, he's going to switch. Okay? So now the big who is being guarded by a 6-foot point guard is now wide open for this little dump off. And Ulrich, once he sees this pass, what did I say? Multiple efforts. That little gather, boom, get the hell out. Watch that. Look at the distance he travels and how quickly he registered this. Boom, boom, boom. Love it. Love it. Okay. Also, Dubs Bestie, thanks a lot for the super chat. I'm going to share a really, really, really funny story with you about crypto. Okay. Boom. Now this more of a low man. And then what I love, again, what I say, multiple efforts. How quick do you jump? How quick do you land? And how quick do you get back? Look at this. Pogo stick, man. The length. The arms never come down. There's never a foul. He mistimes it, keeps the arm up to deter the shot. And then just as he's coming down, he's still able to go back up for the second block attempt. That is just absolutely nuts. That's nuts. That's nuts. Absolutely crazy. I think he is just such a special shot blocker. All right. Now, speaking of guards making things happen, right? Look at this. Here, Jamison Battle, a little bit of dribble. Where have you seen this at the NBA level? Not really. Do you see a lot of this at the college level? No. But this is what the Raptors coaching staff is able to do for you. They're able to make you a better player. Now, watch Jonathan Mogbo. Smart, right? As his defender cuts off the middle in the gap, he is going to send himself out to the three-point line to allow a little bit of spacing here. Now, if he wanted, he could do a touch pass to Ulrich, and this is a dunk. Wide open. Okay? And I feel that maybe last month, this is an immediate shot because Jonathan sees this. He sees this. So he is choosing to take a three, a wide open three, a corner three, which is obviously a good shot for him right now, right? He's been actually making them. Even at the NBA level, he's been making them. He's choosing to do this over giving Ulrich a wide open dunk. Now, play the percentages. Ulrich is going to make this dunk at a higher percentage than you're going to make this three, for sure. But love it. Make the shot. But most importantly, that pass from Jamison Battle was awesome. Now, this one is a funny one, and this is not really an assist, but I just thought a funny play where the ball is tossed off of his leg. I don't think I've ever seen this. Well, I've seen this once or twice, but it's very rare. So the opposing player for the Valley Suns throws the ball off of Jamison Battle, which ends up in Jacoby Walter's hand. And Jacoby's just like, thank you. Thank you very much. Perfect pass. That was some trick shot shit, man. That was great. Okay. Nothing really major. Just Ulrich getting a putback jam here. But just good awareness to be in that offensive rebounding position. And his motor is just insane. Like how high he has to get up just to put this back is so funny because he's barely getting 10 inches off the ground. He's just putting it right back in clear. He's not going to miss a lot of dunks in his life when he gets bigger. Okay. He's born in 2006, right? Is he born in 2006? Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Is he 2005 or 2006? I think he's 2006. This kid is young, man. He's 19 years old. Okay. Here we go. This is with the game on the line. Raptors, 9:05, 49 seconds to go. 114, 112. You missed this shot, probably a game. Probably a game, right? Make this shot, game over. That's about as close as you're going to get to a game winner. Bravo, Jamison Battle. Couple more plays here that I wanted to take a look at here. This is Jacoby Walter just taking a step, just stepping into a jump shot from three. Love it. His three hasn't been going down at the NBA level or the three, but tonight he shot 4 for 7 from three. And, he finished with 23 points on 7 for 15 shooting. Him and AJ Lawson combined for 45 points. It's a good process. Okay, take a look at the defense. Now, this is where I really hone in with Jacoby. I love Jacoby Walter, man. I can't tell you enough good things that I like about this. Look at how he reads this. He sees Ulrich is not low enough on the floor. So he has to cut this off. This is the exact play that Grady, I thought it was 2006. It's 2005. My bad. Yes. There we go. New Year, baby. Love it. Look at Jacoby Walter cut this off. Again, this is difficult, but this is what good teams do. Cuts it off. Boom. Just enough time. That's all you have to do. Sometimes, as a big, if the situation is flipped, right? And a big just has to stunt and then recover, right? A big can just go out there, deter the shot, push the offensive player a little bit away from the basket, and then go back. But you have to make that switch very carefully. You have to keep your arms up to make sure that the pass overhead doesn't get through. But here, Jacoby didn't stop. He deterred. He deterred the shot. Just by getting in the way, he allows Ulrich to get back. And what did they say? Help the helper, right? Jacoby has abandoned his corner assignment in order to help Ulrich. So what's Ulrich going to do? He's going to help. Right? So this is just beautiful team defense. There's nothing more than I could say. That was just beautiful team defense that led to the win. And I'm much more comfortable rooting for wins for the 905 because it doesn't impact the lottery balls. So at this point, if you want to root for wins, go watch the 905. Okay. Once again, Jacoby, watch this. Boom. Get around the screen, gets around. That way Ulrich doesn't have to surrender that. And Ulrich is still in the way to be able to deter this, but he's just far enough. He's maintaining perfect distance. Look at this. How far is Ulrich from his man right now? Is he too far to recover? I'll tell you right now, if Ulrich steps up 2 feet, this is an alley-oop. If Ulrich steps back 2 feet, this is a foul. You have to stay at the perfect spot, and he's figured it out. That's the most amazing thing. But you know what? He doesn't have to deter this because you got a 6'4.5" guard with a 6'10" wingspan who is able to basically force a brick here. So I love this defensive effort from Ulrich and from Jacoby, and they were hard to score on tonight. And I think that a lot of guys competed. Here's, Jacoby getting some shots up before the game, and nice to see that form looking smooth, and him putting in that extra work. I feel like this is the stuff that people just don't see. It's like unless you show up to the game and you're there an hour and a half to 2 hours before, it's just like it's important. Okay. Another little thing. So here, Ulrich is calling for a post up, right? When the ball swings opposite corner to Jacoby, he wisely understands to get out of the way. I'll tell you right now, I watched way too much Ulrich tape when he got drafted. He would stay in the middle, and it would drive me crazy. I'd be like, this guy's basketball IQ is so low that he would stay. he would just stand there and he would basically be an extra defender for the driver because he was keeping his man on the paint. Here, he wisely immediately reacts to this. And instead of going the other way, right? Because right now there's an impulse to fan out to the wing, right? But then where would you be in terms of a pass? And your defender could then stay back and offer your defender could offer another defender. So instead, he gets a little bit wide to allow for a pass. So he leaves his defender there because his defender is like, oh, I got to help. So he gets wide enough that he can take this pass. See, he gets into the dunker spot to give Jacoby an outlet to make this pass. And then he continues to back up a little bit and then boom. Perfect, 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 right? But again, this play cannot happen if he stays where he was. It can't happen. It's too congested. So he creates the driving angle, right? Immediately registering. Number 2, he creates the passing angle. Number 3, Jacoby reads it. Number 4, he finishes it and gifts Jacoby an assist, which is good. Is there another one? Yeah, here we go. Okay, so here's Ulrich. Again, Ulrich, when I say switch, this is a defender who can switch. Now, again, what is the benefit of a big who can actually switch on to wings and perimeter players? Well, number 1, it is a gift, right, to have a big who has switchable hips because you can actually switch. If you want to deflect some of the benefits of a ball screen, being able to switch things and having a big, like, so say you put him and Scotty, the fully actualized version of him and Scotty versus Tatum Horford, right? And let's just say Tatum uses a screen. Well, you can just switch it because he's quick enough to stay with Tatum and Scotty's big enough to stay with Horford. So it generates no advantage. You don't get an advantage if you're the offensive team. Now imagine if you do that with Jakob Poeltl. Now there's a huge advantage for Jason Tatum because now he's got Jakob Poeltl. He can spread him out to about 26 feet. The Raptors have to throw a double team, and then boom, Jason Tatum's good enough passer. He's going to find Jaylen Brown open for the corner 3 or Drew Holiday cutting back door. And then, of course, your big is isolated on an island. And the benefit of having Scotty, Ochai, guys like that is when they end up in the lower third of your defense, they can actually protect the rim. So again, defense has to work on a string. If you look at the OKC Thunder, I've talked ad nauseum about the OKC Thunder and their ability to guard. It really comes down to personnel, man. Again, look at this. It's not a block. It's deterrence. Okay. It forces this sort of awkward finish, right? Look at how the defender has to shape himself because Ulrich was blocking shots. Obviously, the scouting report on him is he's huge. He blocks shots. He's damn near 7 feet tall. He has a 7'4", 7'5" wingspan. So this is an intimidating player to play up against. And if you're a guard who's going to attack him or a wing, look at that finish. You're under the basket. He doesn't foul. There's a second defender there. Of course, it's going to be short. You're just so uncomfortable on that finish. So I just think that this is such an underrated prospect that the Raptors have. I've spoken to a lot of people about him. I've spoken to people that are, covering the 905. I've spoken to people who are in his camp. I've spoken to people who analyzed him and scouted him for, and met with him during his college circuit when he was exploring going to colleges. I've never heard a bad thing about him. Nothing. I've never heard he doesn't work hard. I've never heard, he has attitude issues. I've only heard great things about Ulrich. And, from the people who are watching him day to day at the 905, the steps are obvious. He's taking steps every single day to become a better player. He's learning, he's listening. He has a big man coach who's actually helping him with the ins and outs of being an NBA big man, which means how do you stunt and recover? How do you switch onto the perimeter and maintain some balance and awareness? How many reps can you put this kid in? And right now, it's just about momentum. You just need to keep playing. You need to keep playing. You need to get him reps because what was the thing that Joe Tuamu said in our interview was that he didn't play enough. They didn't have enough games. At the basketball academy in Africa, the NBA academy, they did a lot of skill work. They did a ton of skill work. They did a lot of ball handling drills. They did a lot of passing drills and weaves and all that stuff. But the actual game reps, the unpredictability of reacting to different situations, different matchups. How do I react to, a Frank Kaminsky versus a Kelly Olynyk versus a Shaquille O'Neal? There's a completely different blueprint for playing against these players. You're going to do much better the second time you play them. And Ulrich has gotten better in every 2 games, like 2 games like this. If you just watch him in the first 2 games, Watch him game 1, 2, then watch him 3, 4, then watch him 5, 6, and you'll see jump, jump, jump. He is jumping at phenomenal pace. I don't know if he'll be, a rotation player next year. I don't know that. But he'll be 19 at that time. He'll be 19 at the start of next season. He'll be 19, when he hits training camp. He'll be 19 in summer league. I'm looking forward to summer league, man. SP saying his feet move too well to fail. I think that's part of it. That's part of it. His feet move very well. He is the type of player that, has a lot of skill as a playmaker, as a ball handler. We've seen him effectively dribble in the full court, and he's able to sometimes make plays out of that. We've seen some short roll potential. We've certainly seen some switchability defensively. We've seen some good transition defense. My one standout skill with Ulrich is how he attacks the basketball. I just love how he attacks the basketball. Offensively, he attacks. Defensively, he attacks. He is a player with like this sort of like he plays with reckless abandon. He does not take plays off. He never takes plays off. There's nothing lazy about him. He's just a really good player. So yeah. Vegan Grass saying by 21, he'll be a rotational player easily. That is the hope. That is the hope. That is definitely the hope. Okay. So, let's get on to overviews for the 905. I don't really have any overviews. I just thought that the Jurassic 5 played very, very well. Obviously, Jurassic 5, the term for this four rookie unit that I just absolutely love. And to anyone who has this idea that, this channel is only about Scotty, well, then why am I covering 905 games? Why am I watching 905 games? Why have I watched every single 905 game? People have really a misunderstanding of where I'm at. Okay, Dub's bestie with this little Mars Talk Sports. Hold on one second. I think I'm a little bit out of focus there. With this Mars Talks, is it Mars Talks Hoops or Mars Talk Sports? I can't remember. It's Mars Talk Sports. This little avatar of Mars. Pen as a stat head, do you crypto? Good times on the way. So I had an opportunity to get into cryptocurrency back in 2016, 2017. And I literally had the founder of Ethereum sitting in front of me. We were playing chess. And I didn't know very much about Ethereum or very much about Bitcoin at that point, because in 2015, I left the finance world and I started to get into film. I started making films. I became a filmmaker. And so I just wanted to leave all that stuff alone. I didn't want to touch crypto. I didn't want to touch very much. Like anytime I would hear this stock's about to explode, go check out Meta, IPO, etc. I just didn't want to do. I didn't want to have a lot to do with anything. Sorry, the Meta IPO was way before that. But I mean, like this new company's coming up, this biotech, whatever. I didn't actually want to have anything to do with it. And then I was listening to Vitalik talking about Ethereum, and his dad, was telling was talking about Ethereum and blockchain and how big of a deal it's going to be and how it's going to shape the world and how everyone's going to find the value of it. And I didn't invest. So I gotta take the L with that one. L for me, listening to, watching Ethereum blow up, watching, Bitcoin blow up. I mean, we're talking like hundreds of dollars turn to thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And so, yeah, really missed the boat on that one. Had I bought, I don't know, 50 to 60 ether, probably would have been to the tune of $1 million. So, L me for not taking it seriously, L me for not understanding the data behind it or the financial logic behind why something like that could work. I didn't really, yeah. Dub's Bestie saying, damn, that must suck. I think that cues me up perfectly for what I want to talk about finally, which is, let me hear a W in the chat if you're a person who has any of the following things are true about you. You're someone who often struggles to start tasks. You're someone who has a little bit of anxiety about the future. You're someone who would classify themselves as an overthinker. You're someone who sometimes will set goals but will fail to start them, or someone who sometimes gets a lot of analysis paralysis. If that's you, just give me a W. So Dubs Bestie saying W. Appreciate you for the honesty. Anybody else? Just help me out. Liam saying W. I feel like that's a lot of us. Black Nubian saying W. Okay. Uh, other Uber drivers saying W. Yuki saying W. Bueno Kitty saying W. Okay, cool. KP W. Uh, SP saying all. Okay. Brian Zigsaw Puzzle. Cool. So a lot of W's. So I'm also someone who sometimes struggles to start something. I find myself catastrophizing about the future. Like what could happen? What's going to happen, right? The truth is none of us know what's going to happen. When you start something, you don't know what's going to happen. If you start a YouTube channel, it could fail, right? When you put a take out there that's really unpopular, it could miraculously, it could spectacularly backfire. If you start a film festival, no one might show up. If you quit your job, you might not get another job, but you don't know that. You don't know that, actually. You don't know if you quit your job, you might not get a better job tomorrow. You don't know if leaving your partner means you're going to find the love of your life tomorrow. You don't know if confronting your family member about that toxic ass shit that they've been doing to you for 20 years is going to result in catharsis or further trauma. You don't know that. But there is this temptation, I think, to try and examine everything that can happen. Everything that can happen. Now, with the uncertainty of the Canadian economy right now, and with a prime minister that has just resigned, and everything with the tariffs, there's a lot of uncertainty, right? There's crisis upon crisis across the world, and things like this can become very overwhelming, especially when you see them scrolling across your timeline every single day, and it can sort of drain you as you start to examine all the possibilities. Questions that may come up your mind. What if I can't pay rent in a year? What if grocery prices continue to go up? What if my partner leaves me? What if I lose my job? Everyone's getting sacked. What if I get sacked? What if the Canadian dollar continues to go down? What if? What all of those questions have in common, though? Do you know what they have in common? Any guesses? You can't control them. You can't control them. You can't control them. None of those things are under your control. What can you do? You can reframe. You can do something. I believe all of us have a tremendous amount of momentum and energy within us. Okay? When we were children, we wanted to run in the fields like crazy people. We wanted to do everything. We wanted to see this, see that, go everywhere. As adults, some of us choose to shut her off. We start saying no to a lot of things that maybe we should be saying yes to. We start saying yes to things that we maybe should be saying no to. We lose trust with ourselves because we start losing faith, because we start overthinking, and we become trapped. We become sort of trapped in these bodies that are sort of dormant, these bodies that are very inactive. And what happens to energy, especially when you have traumatic outcomes like you tried to ask the girl out and she said no, or you had faith in this girl or this dude, and to the female to the to the female viewers out there, you had faith in this dude, you thought you all were gonna get married, and you found out he had a side chick, and your engagement broke off, and it's scary. And now you want to not make that mistake again because you're human. You don't want to experience that pain. And so what do? You try to examine all the outcomes. You're like, okay, well, what did he what did I miss? What did I miss? And then you become very hyper vigilant and prepared for the next possible outcome. So now he checks his phone. You're like, oh, might be another side chick situation, right? And that trauma is actually trapped in your body, and that's what's stopping you from moving, right? When you feel better, what happens? It's when you move. When you go out for a walk, they often tell you, some of the greatest thinkers of all time, what did they do? They got their bodies moving. They walked, right? Walking is an active thing to do. Sitting there pontificating on every possible thing that can go wrong in your life is an inactive thing to do. When you are finding yourself to be extremely inactive, the worst thing to do is to remain inactive. The longer you stay in that inactive overthinking state, the more inactive overthinking you're going to do. Now, the issue here is that thinking about possible outcomes actually mimics the same emotions you get from actually doing things. So let me consider, what if I go to the store and they don't have what I want? Then I'll have wasted my time. What if I go to the store and I have an unpleasant meeting with somebody? Or what if I go to the store and I get hit by a car on the way? Okay, now none of this was productive at all. None of it moved my life at all. And yet I've mimicked some sort of motion in my mind of doing something. I haven't done anything. What if I try website design and I fail? What if I make a website and everybody laughs at me? What if I make a podcast and people think I'm stupid or nobody watches? You see? But the only way you'll know is by doing it. And so it's very important to do the following things. Number 1, every period of inactivity can be disrupted with one action of activity or one act of activity. Act of activity is a little bit clunky, but you get what I'm saying. Literally, anytime you find yourself ruminating, pontificating, doomsday prognosticating, take a walk. Take a walk. Do 10 push ups. Do something. Do anything. Literally, do anything. Get up, clean a counter. Get up, mop the floor. Do something, anything. Because the longer you stay in that stuck state, you're going to keep doom scrolling. You're going to probably play online casino on your phone. You're probably going to message people that you probably shouldn't be talking to. You're going to do some stupid ass shit because we all have this weird self-destructive ticker in our brains. And I don't know why it is, but it is rooted in past trauma because we tend to find situations that reaffirm our thoughts about ourselves. So if you are a person or if you want to be a person, excuse me one second. If you want to be the type of person that has people around them that are active and you are inactive, you're going to run into friction in your mind because your mind is going to say, why would these super active, super ambitious people want to hang out with a loser who just sits at home? And there comes the negative self-talk. So the first thing is do something. The second thing is ask a different question. Ask a different question. You're saying, what if this happens? What if that happens? What if this happens? What if that happens? I'm going to ask you to reframe that whenever you find yourself saying, what if, ask what else? What else could happen? Okay, so what if I make a video and nobody sees it? Okay, that would suck. It takes time to do these lives. It takes time. What if I broach a subject on the podcast and people unsubscribe? Okay, what else could happen? So as I bring up life advice on a basketball podcast, what if people don't like it? What if people say, no, stick to basketball? You're not David Goggins. Who the fuck do you think you are? What's so great about your life that I should care what you have to say? But what else could happen? What else could happen is there's somebody who's stuck out there that I'm speaking to directly right now. And this one thing, hearing this on something where they weren't expecting to hear this type of thing, moves them into action and they have a great day tomorrow. And for that one person out there, I hope it's you. Good. This was worth it. Doesn't matter what else. Number 3, do not devote energy to things you cannot control. I know you've heard this before, but you're hearing it one more time. I don't follow this rule very well. I devote a lot of energy to things I don't control. I don't control what the media says about Scotty. I don't control what, the internet trolls say about me. I don't control what the PC chat says about me. I can't control that, but I do respond to it, which means I'm giving energy to something that doesn't warrant my energy at all. At all. Trolls don't warrant my energy. They don't warrant a single F off. They don't warrant a ban. They don't warrant anything. They don't warrant shit. Nothing. Drenchman Sports W. I'm gonna get to the 4th thing, and actually pertains to this dude right here. Stay around people, surround yourself with people that you could see like I want you to imagine that one day your dreams do come true. Just imagine it. Whatever the hell you want. What is it that you want? You want to be an NBA pro, you want to be an NBA coach, you want to be, covering this on the largest stage, you want to be a multimillionaire, you want to be the type of person that can go to Dubai tomorrow. No questions asked. You want to be the type of person with that type of freedom. You want to be the type of person who can go into uh, a sports car dealership and not have to research too hard, not have to think about it for 5 6 weeks, not have to borrow money, not have to just walk in with, like, I don't know, a briefcase. I don't know. I'm not, maybe your aspiration is to be a drug dealer. I'm just kidding. What I'm saying is try to imagine your dreams come true. Now find the people around you that are going to be in that same room. Find the people, right? Find the people in your life that are consistently pushing you to be a better version of yourself. Don't find people who are distracting you, trying to deter you, because people love to see you fail, right? Like they want you to succeed as long as you're not more successful than them, right? A lot of people are like that. I feel like I've met a lot of people. They're happy for your success unless you pass them. Now you pass them, now they want to see you fail because they feel miserable about your success. So, straight up, find people around you who are constantly thinking about solutions. Find people around you that are constantly trying to uplift others, uplift themselves. I've never met a person in my life who keeps, I've never met a person in my life who finds God in their home and creates the devil in yours, right? I've never found that in my life. I've never found a person who treats you horribly, treats themselves horribly, and then treats you super well. People who treat themselves horribly are going to treat you horribly. That's just the life. That's life. That's how it goes. So if you meet somebody new and they're treating you super nice, but you get a feeling like they treat themselves really shit, they're always thinking less of themselves, they're always putting themselves down. Believe you me, when shit hits the fan, that person will treat you like shit too. They don't know better. It's not their fault. So stay around people who uplift you. Final thing, the what else can happen element of it, you need to learn when thoughts are productive and unproductive. In 2015, I'm gonna tell you actually, in 2015, when I wanted to transition over to film, my ex-girlfriend, her father was very, very traditionalist and believed that because I had a great job and was making decent money, that there was no need for me to take an unnecessary risk like that in my life, especially in my mid-20s, before I had completely established myself. But I said, I really want to get into film. And he's like, well, how do you just get into film? Those are his beliefs. That wasn't a productive thought for me. That wasn't a productive thought for me. I know he meant well. I know all that shit, but that was not a productive thought. When we started a film festival, there were plenty of people that said, why you want to start a film festival? What experience do you have? And people always want to know what valid reason you have to chase your dreams. I say, fuck it and do it anyway. But you will be flooded with thousands of opinions and thousands of thoughts every single day. Most of them are going to be pretty much innocuous and unproductive. What you need to do is learn to observe, pause, think about it. Okay. I'll give you an example. If you're a gambling fiend, right? If you're somebody who compulsively gambles, what's the one thing that can help you apart from deleting the app? Bet limits. Create a limit. The app times you out. You can't access it. If you lose $50 or $20 or whatever your limit is, or $100, boom, it times you out. What does that do? It gives you time to reframe from your addiction. It's the same thing with drinking. I don't know. You got a drinking problem? Maybe don't live on top of a liquor store, right? If you got a drug problem, maybe don't have friends who do drugs, right? But the important thing is to stop, observe, learn to stop. Okay. When something is making you angry, the best thing to do is what? When someone writes you a really nasty email, what's the worst thing you could do? Da, 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 you motherfucker. La, 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 la. That's the worst thing you could do. When someone writes a really nasty comment about you, what's the worst thing you could do? Respond to it in the moment. It's the worst thing you can do. How about this? Set a timer for 2 hours. Set a timer for 2 hours, and literally 2 hours later, if you're still mad about it, then respond. 2 hours later, you won't care. That's productive. You have a system, right? So this, to me, if you are a person who chronically overthinks, if you are a person who finds themselves consistently trying to think about big dreams but then never acting on them, do something, do anything, and make sure that, as with that final example, what I wanted to say was learn to just tell yourself, stop, pause, and then ask yourself, is what I'm thinking productive? And when you're saying what if, say what else. All right. I hope that's helpful for y'all. Hit the video. Hit the video. Karen Hall saying, you make me think of the Scotty Cade debate. I bet Scotty is rooting for Cade and vice versa. I can guarantee you that Scotty is rooting for Cade. And he is not rooting for Cade insofar as he becomes more successful or less successful. Scotty's rooting for all his people. And you know what? So am I. Every person I know, I want to be successful. I've known some awesome content creators when they were at 10, 15, 30 subscribers, when we were all at like very few subscribers. And those content creators have lapped me by 20 times. They have grown their audience so much. And you know what? At no point have I ever thought to compare. At no point have I ever been salty. Actually, if they reach out for help, I'm still going to help them, because there's a thing about winners and there's a thing about losers. Losers think there is never enough. Winners know there's plenty for everybody. All right. Talk to y'all later. Have a great one. Enjoy yourselves. Peace.